Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. Got Jerel Hendricks back on the board as always for a huge Week 8 preview show here in South Carolina high school football. John, we've been a little bit lucky the past couple weeks. We've had a lot of really loaded slates with just tons of games to pick from. This week, not quite as big, I would say, as far as the top-tier games, but, man, we still do have some really big ones to go through here on this program.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Region play, we're getting toward the end here. A lot of teams, just a couple of games left to play in the regular season, and still a lot can happen. And with every week, we see upsets. We think there's some games where, hey, this team's got it under control, and then come Friday night, they don't. So we're going to have that this week too. Just don't know who it's going to be yet.
Yeah, and we keep saying each every week it feel like, got some region titles on the line, but, you really do at this point where we get some of the big matchups. If hey, this is for, if not first, it's for second. So there's some key region battles on the slate here this week. But as always, guys, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for tuning in live on Facebook and YouTube. We also have a video on Twitter as well. You can join it there, but whether you watch on Facebook and YouTube, it's a little bit easier to talk with us on those platforms. But we're on all social media at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. Our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Every week, Tuesday nights, 7:15, we go live with our preview show. We talk through the biggest games in the state, along with the whole statewide slate. So we'll get everywhere from 5A down to SCISA. So appreciate you joining us for that. We have coach interviews, player interviews, lots of great stuff outside of that as well that comes out each and every week. Get your Moving the Chains merch right now. Lots of really good stuff. Got some T-shirts. We've got a black T-shirt, a navy blue T-shirt, a pink, and a gray as well. Help support the boys. Help grow the program. Love to see you guys wearing this stuff. We're able to get move some stickers last week, John. Excited to see those out on folks' cars and everything else as well. Some hoodies here, a gray hoodie, a white hoodie. Couple different hat options, a gray front with a black and a gray back, a black front up there as well. All of this is posted on our social media page. Get your hood or toboggans as well for the colder weather, a gray one and a black one. And then, like I said, you're Moving the Chain stickers. Looks right on your laptop, your cup, your car, whatever. Appreciate folks for purchasing that and helping us spread the word and making this a bigger and better thing. I said it last week. I think we have thousands of listeners each week, but there are many more folks who don't know about us yet who like high school football. So love to have you guys help us spread the word, spread the program, make it bigger and better all across the state. We try to do our best to talk about every single team each week. So certainly bring in some fans to help us do that even better if we can. But as always, guys, feel free to comment, give us your thoughts throughout the program. But Jerel, any comments from the chat as we get ready to roll in here this week? Armani says the Blue Eagles have a huge test Friday against the undefeated Indian Land team. Yes, Clover Indian Land's a big matchup. The Warriors playing some great football right now. Armani said he spent his bye week watching Northwestern Fort Mill last week. Trojans missed a star player and still put up 56. Got to give Fort Mill credit. They were competitive through 4 quarters. I think they scored 40 in that matchup, so certainly high scoring over there in that part of the state. Tony says Powdersville Patriots have some real standout players. Yes, huge win for Powdersville. A big overtime victory over Christchurch. Kind of locks him into that number 1 seed there in the region, honestly, John. Big win for the Patriots last week. Travis says Westside's looking good in region play. Team is improving every week with freshman Bear Woods. Yes, they dominated what we thought was a solid Emerald team last week. Westside is on the rise. They are a team that's going to be reckoned with here throughout the rest of region play. Zach says, good evening. We can also say Clinton boys are in a groove. 5 straight games, 35+. Not to mention they rushed for 509 last week, including 3 running backs over 100 yards. Yes, huge win for Clinton. They essentially lock up that region last week with the win over Chesney as well. Red Devils are getting hot at the right time. Kevron, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for joining us as always. Hey, Courtney, good to see you in here too, buddy. Brandon says, what's up? Wood win by Chester taking down Fairfield Central. Yes, big win for the Cyclones. They're playing good football. Hats off to Jerel. He had that. He had Fairfield Central in his upset alert on our MTC hot routes that came out Thursday. Patrick, what's up, Patrick? Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Big win for Gaffney last week. Moses says, what's up, fellas? Moses, appreciate you as well. Huge win for those Patriots. Bulldog is back, man. Missed last week. Thank you, buddy, for joining us. We missed you. Missed your comments last week down there. But thank you for being here this week for week 8.
I got to ask Bulldog, was he taking a timeout or was he clapping?
I see what you're doing there, Jerel. Zay says, go Bears. I don't know if we're talking Carver's Bay, BHP. I don't know, but they're all playing great football. All the Bears are right now. Chris, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining us as always. Somerville's in the house. They had a huge win in a rainy game over James Island. They get the victory there. Good seeing Travis. Appreciate you, Travis, joining us as well. JD says, good evening from A-Town. Go Panthers. The Panthers continue to roll. They got a couple of fun matchups here. I think Ware, Shoals, and Dixie down the stretch beat a good Calhoun Falls team last week. DeAndre says, Ware, Shoals, Dixie game of the week. That's one of our games of the week. We'll get to here in a second here, DeAndre. That was a big one for sure.
Let's go ahead and get into it, guys.
Yes, our Kona games of the week, 5 of the biggest games across the state. We'll break those down first before looking at the rest of the statewide slate. Our first Kona game of the week, a game that DeAndre just mentioned, a 1A matchup, 6-1 Dixie, the Hornets traveling to take on the 7-0 Ware Shoals group led by Coach Chris Dotson there. Dixie, a big win over Whitmire, 49-12 last week, averaging 35 points per game on offense, 20 allowed on defense. Ware Shoals shut out McCormick 48-0, averaging 35 on offense, 12 allowed on defense. John, 2 teams that we haven't talked a ton about in 1A, but they're playing good football, man. Who do you like in this one? I guess kind of a battle of the Hornets here, you could say, I guess, between Dixie and Ware Shoals.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an awesome game here. I think we could see a lot of points in this ball game Friday. Dixie, talk about Ware Shoals undefeated. Dixie, their only loss was to a really good Fox Creek team early in the season.
Bigger program,
Yeah, now we understand, hey, Fox Creek's a pretty good team, so that loss really doesn't look bad either. I think this will be a fun game. I want to say it's going to be a little high scoring. I know the game's going to be over there in Ware Shoals. I like Dixie in this game. I feel like every year we talk about Dixie, especially late in the year and in the playoffs, about it. Hey, here's a team that is really finding their groove. Here's a team that we haven't talked a whole lot about, and here they are playing really good football. And once again, 2025, same story again. I like Dixie. This is a proven program, and I'm going to go with it. I know we do this. It seems like every week in some of these games where we're like, not really sure who's going to win this game. I'm not really sure who's the better team. I think they're both pretty even. I'm going to go with who we talk about a lot years past, and I'm going to go with Dixie.
Dixie led by quarterback Stalin Johnson. Running back Brandon Nance last week, 8 for 132, 3 touchdowns. He has 2 or more touchdowns in 6 straight games, John. Getting it done, carrying the mail there for the Hornets. Running back / receiver Dallas Dotson had 5 carries for 86 yards, 2 more touchdowns last week. Also 3 catches for 30 yards and another touchdown. Defensively led by Jaden Martin along with Dotson and Nance. Ware Shoals, quarterback Jaden Johnson. He's a real threat running the football for them. Running backs Altavis Evans and Tyrell Cunningham, and then receiver Raheem Robinson are the playmakers on offense for them. Defensively, Elijah Brown, 17 tackles, 4 TFLs last week. Trent Dial, 10 tackles, 6 TFLs, 3 sacks. And then Winbush and Good are also contributors. John, Dixie won this game last year, 28-14. This is a pretty big rivalry, but Dixie has really kind of had the upper hand. They've won, I believe, they're 9-1 against Ware Shoals going back to 2017. So they are certainly the dominant team in this rivalry at this point. But I will say this. I think Ware Shoals, you mentioned the offenses there. Both teams putting up 35 points per game, which is nothing to sneeze at. They're playing really well. But I think I trust the Ware Shoals defense a little bit more than the Dixie defense. I think I'm going to lean Ware Shoals here. 2 teams that are doing a fantastic job. Coach Sorrow there at Dixie, and like I mentioned, Coach Dotson at Ware Shoals. I think I agree. Could be some points in this one. I think Ware Shoals gets one more stop. I think the Hornets of Ware Shoals move to 8-0. I like their defense a little bit better. I think they win this football game on Friday night. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this 1A matchup, a huge game here. Not a region title yet because we still got Big Abbeville coming down the tracks, but certainly a big one for playoff seeding.
Yeah. Give me the Hornets here. No. Let me go Ware Shoals. I like them at home. There's really not much differentiating these 2 teams. I mean, I think it's going to be a really, really tight ball game. Obviously, it looks like both teams want to get it done, running the football, getting it done on the ground. So it could be a quick game as well, as long as we don't have too many scores here. But I think it is going to be high scoring though. So this may be a hot routes, one of those points factory games that we highlight a little bit later. But it should be a lot of fun. I'm literally just going to go Ware Shoals because I like them playing at home. But again, should be a fantastic football game. A lot of comments on this one too, so I'm really excited.
What a great story, 7-0 Ware Shoals. Like a team that is, really not been much of a factor the last couple of years. Coach Dotson came in, I think this is his third year now. They had a solid season last year, but they were nothing to this level. Seeing what he's done now has been really impressive, and I'm super excited for that program moving forward. Wolfman's got Ware Shoals Dixie. He's got Dixie 28-27, says Wolfman in a tight one there. Zach says first to 28 wins this game. Certainly could be the case. Zach Moses says Ware Shoals alumni go Hornets. I love it. Thank you, Moses, for getting in here. Dion says 49-35 Ware Shoals. Travis has got Ware Shoals 48.
Big score.
Yeah, high scoring there. Chris, good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you joining us as always. Thank you, Chris, for getting in here. Brandon says Ware Shoals 38-34. A lot of close predictions here and points as well, like you guys have been saying.
Yeah, high points. Brandon
says first time since 88 Ware Shoals been 7-0. Thank you. I had not seen that, but that sounds about right. So really good to see for that program. Terrence says, what's up, guys? Hampton County in the house. A team playing great football right now, heading to region play. Thank you for joining us, as always, to talk about the Hurricanes.
Yeah, a lot of big scores here, so it should be fun. I mean, it's leaning Ware Shoals in this one. I think that's kind of where we're leaning as a group, but should be exciting.
Not John. John's taking Dixie.
I'm going Dixie.
That's what I'm saying as a group, so 2-1. So we'll
know how it goes, guys. We're all going to throw out these big high scores. Chat's going big high scores. It's going to be like 10-9.
7-6. 7-6. Let's go to the next game, guys.
Can't wait for that one. Our second Kona game, we go to the other side of the state, a coastal battle here. Hilton Head Island, 6-1, traveling to 6-1 May River. Both teams playing great football last year. Hilton Head Island won this one 23-10. The Eagles had a bye last week. 2 weeks ago, beat Bishop England 41-10, a statement victory there for them. Averaging 41 on offense, 20 on defense. Quarterback Derek Ranazuski went 7 for 12, 2 touchdowns in that game. Running back Thad Zarnecki was one of our players of the week that week. He had 21 for 187, 3 touchdowns there. Running back Javen Risher, 10 for 107 and a touchdown. Receivers Weideman and Walters are playmakers. Defensively, Will Jimenez, 10 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks. Zarnecki, 7 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and a pick. And Josh Bigger, 2 sacks, and Risher, a pick in that ball game. May River, I mentioned the rain earlier in the coast last Friday, affected May River last week too. And they beat Bishop England 14-7, a low-scoring matchup. They're averaging 32 on offense, 15 allowed on defense. They want to run the ball, and run the ball some more, John. Didn't throw a pass last week. Running back Sean Mitchell, 32 for 178, 2 touchdowns. Head, Tran, and Cooper also weapons for them offensively. Defensively, Braden Harris, 14 tackles. Michael Poole, 13 tackles. Mason Campbell, 9 tackles. Xavier Polite and Charlie Crace can kind of really get after the quarterback for those guys. John, and in my head, this game is more of not who plays their style, but maybe who can enforce their will on the opponent. It feels like almost two really physical football teams here.
Yeah, I tell you, I am as high on this Hilton Head team as just about anybody. Well, I'm not going to say anybody in the state, but from especially in 4A, from a team that is kind of busted onto the scene this year, this is a really, really good football team. And I think they are, we'll see how they shape out from our poll here later, but I think this is a really good team that's not getting the respect they deserve. They have their only loss to James Island, and that's
who's really good.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
And outside of that game, they haven't scored less than 36 points. They played a really good Hampton County team, blew them out. I know Hampton County is a little smaller, but they're really good. Blew them out. Then they turn around the next week, and they beat a Bluffton team that is very dynamic and very good offensively. They beat them by 2 scores. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, they play a Bishop England team that was I think they were in our top 5.
Yeah.
They were in I think then the media top 10 as well. And they just slugged them. I think this is a really good team. It's not getting talked about enough. May River, very good in their own right. They're a very good football team. They're probably, after being Bishop England last week, they got to be 2, maybe 3 in the region. I still think that Bluffton team is really talented. But this Hilton Head team, to me, this is their region. And I think they're poised to be a big-time troublemaker come playoff time, too. I'm really high on this Hilton Head team. I think they win by a couple scores again.
Yeah, I think if May River wins this game, they basically lock up the region because they've already would have beaten Bluffton, Bishop England, and if Hilton Head wins, they lock it up. They would have already beaten Bluffton, May River, and Bishop England. So I think that'd be a pretty good spot there for them. They're playing great football, John. They really are, and just super impressed with what Coach Payne is doing down there. Zarnecki doing on both sides of the football. You know, you don't see a lot of guys when you get to that 4A, 5A level that are playing both ways. But they have a couple guys there with Risher who's doing it, along with Zarnecki, who are doing a great job there for the Eagles. You know, it's one of the things where, you know, May River, that run-heavy style where you don't want to let them get a lead. Like, you don't want to fall behind because they're going to milk the clock. And that's the key for May River. Can they get that early lead and kind of just, you know, have those long 10, 12, 15-play drives that take off 6-7 minutes? Like, that's what Coach Bonneville's bunch wants to do. But, you know, like you said, I think and I like as well that the way the Hilton Head has beat different styles of teams. It feels like guys that want to throw it, guys that want to run it, guys that want to play defense. They've kind of beat them all so far, and I like what they're doing there. I agree with you. I think Hilton Head on the road, I think they win this football game. I think they kind of lock up the region this week. I like that Eagles team a bunch. They're playing great football right now. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this crucial 4A Region 6 matchup?
Sorry, wrong button. No, I like Hilton Head too. Like, I echo John's sentiments. I don't think they're getting the respect they deserve at Hilton Head. But again, I don't think this region gets the respect it deserves. It doesn't always translate in the playoffs just because, you know, how deep 4A is and a lot of that. But I really love these teams in this region. I love keeping up with Region 6. It's just so much fun because these teams do have contrasting styles. They play good football down there. Really excited about May River. Coach Bonneville, we got to catch up with him a couple years ago. One of my favorite interviews that we got to do for new hires. And then just looking at this Hilton Head team, man, just like you mentioned, the way that they've won against contrasting styles, this team really seems poised. You have to be scary, though, because they seem like they're peaking. Like, those are 2 big-time wins they've had in a row. So this could be a trap game. I don't think you can potentially look at May River here. But
and yeah, I will say, I think having a bye last week helps with that a little bit.
For sure. Because now they're starting to, you know, listen to John and other people around the state talk about how good they are, you know, now that we're starting to, you know, to mention them. So I think they do. I think they win by 10 plus points in this football game. I really like what they're doing, but that doesn't discredit how good this May River bunch is as well.
Yeah. Any comments from the chat on that matchup, Jerel?
Let's see.
Wolfman says May River's under the radar. Really decent team. No safety. Yeah, they're great. I mean, and the style of play, too, is hard to prepare for at that 4 level because you don't see a lot of guys running that offense they run at that level. So certainly a tough team to prep for and get your scout team work in, but they're a good squad as well.
Talk about that region too. It seems like a team just emerges. Like we pick a team from that region that we think is going to do well, whether it's Beaufort, Bishop England was a team this year, and somebody else just emerges and kind of sneaks up on everybody. So it's a lot of fun, you know, to see who's going to emerge. But got another score prediction from Dion here.
Dion says May River 28-7. That would be a statement there for sure if they win like that.
Quite shocking there. Yeah, but let's go to the next game, guys.
Our third Kona game of the week, John, a big-time battle here. The battle for Highway 9, I believe, is the right term for this one. We've got Dillon, the Wildcats at 4-3, traveling to take on the 6-1 Marlboro County Bulldogs. Dillon, a dominant victory over Ainer, 39-11 last week, averaging 40 points per game on offense, 20 allowed on defense. Marlboro County shuts out Georgetown 34-0 last week, averaging 32 on offense, 10 allowed per game on defense. Last year, John, this game coming into it was a huge matchup. You know, Marlboro County was the talk of the state, how great they were playing. They went into the White Walls and got hammered. Dillon beat them 35-12 last year over at Dillon Memorial Stadium. This year, we're going over to Marlboro County, and I feel like the Bulldogs are out for revenge, John. Do they get it this year? Does Dillon have some magic left? What do you like in this 3 matchup, man? These are 2 teams that don't like each other, and it's going to be fun again on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great football game. It's a, you know, we hear a lot about, hey, throw the records out kind of stuff. And I think to a degree, you say that in this matchup when they're both pretty good. You know, sometimes, you know, there's a few years where Dillon was really overmatching Marlboro County. Not the case last year, but they beat them up. This year's certainly not the case either from a talent perspective. I like Marlboro County in this game for two reasons. I think number one is that kind of revenge factor is, they were really, really good last year. This Dillon game was the game that was going to really put them on the map.
Yeah.
As being, you got to take it serious now. Did not go their way. We know some things happened with the team, with the high school league, and the playoffs didn't go. Playoffs didn't happen as they had hoped either. This year's different. This year's a little different. I think that revenge factor is big. And then two, I think also with Dillon, they know they're really good, but they know they've got a 9th grade quarterback. They know that this is probably not the year that the Wildcats are going to be, hey, this is the year everybody's going to talk about years to come. That might be a year or two down the road. I think they know that. That Loris game, I think, hurt. I think that hurts a lot. It's hard to put it, clear definition on that. I'm not inside the program knowing what happens day to day in practice, but that's a game where we hadn't lost these guys in 60 years. We lose once last year. Then you lose a heartbreaker like they did 2 weeks ago. And this Marlboro County team, and it's on the road. I think I like the way things are going for the Bulldogs in this game. I like Marlboro County to win this game, but I think it's going to be very competitive. I think it's going to be very, very competitive. They got to hang on to protect the football. Don't give Dillon any reason to, win this game where maybe they shouldn't. But I think Marlboro County gets it done. I think this is the year that they really plant the flag as being back.
You mentioned young freshman quarterback Kale Samfung-Talia for Dillon. 2 touchdown passes last week. Running back Noah Singletary stepped in, had 3 rushing touchdowns. Receiver Zay Robertson, a UNC commit, a Super 75 guy for us, had 2 touchdown catches. He's averaging 128 yards per game receiving, John. A great season from Robertson, and an electric playmaker out wide for them. Damo Felton, I believe, did not play last week. He should be back, along with Daniel Capehart, also out last week. Another Super 75 guy, Shrine Bowler as well. He's got 9 touchdowns on the season. On the defensive side, injuries was a key piece of that win over Ainer. They were missing Capehart and Kerryon Brown. They're 2 all-star linebackers, one a North-South, one a Shrine Bowl guy. Capehart averaging 11 tackles per game. Kerryon Brown even higher than that, it feels like right now. Kelvin Manning on the back end is a great player for them. Said it a couple weeks ago, Dillon starting to play better after a few tough losses, but just another key team where health is key. Like who's back, who's not back, we'll see on Friday night. Marlboro County, quarterback Trey Blakeney, 10 for 12 last week, also ran it 10 times for $119 and 2 touchdowns. Running back Troy Haley, 11 for 88, 2 more touchdowns. Ray Stone, Tremaine Ashford, weapons outside. Defensively, led by that D-line that is big and active, man. They've got great playmakers with Jaden Ash, Caden Walton, and P.J. Williams up front. That linebacker bunch led by Myjay McCoy and Leighton Chavis. 2 teams that, like I mentioned earlier, don't like each other, John. It's really an odd game because last year coming into it, Marlboro County was kind of the talk of the state. Like everybody had them brought up. They were high in the polls. Like, everybody heard the rumors about, hey, this team is unbeatable. They're this, they're that, whatever. This year, Marlboro County might be as good, if not better, and nobody's talking about them. They're completely under the radar. They lost 1 game to a top 5 4A program, Gray Collegiate. I mean, they are playing great football, and they're just really flying under the radar. Really been a quiet season for Coach Johnson's bunch, which is probably how the Bulldogs wanted it this year after the way that last year went. Marlboro County offensively started the year kind of in a wing tee, but have kind of moved away from that. They're very athletic on offense, but don't really know what the identity is. Doing a little bit of wing tee stuff, some spread stuff, kind of, doing a mix right now, which makes it tough to prepare for, of course. But you feel like you probably want to hone in on something as you go down the stretch here. And like I mentioned, Dillon, the health is the key. Who's back, who's not back there. But I think the key for the Wildcats, you got to get outside. You got to make that defensive line from Marlboro County run. Got to maybe go up tempo a little bit, try to tire him out a little bit, get them moving, things like that. But I just don't know if Dillon has the pieces in place this week. Even if Capehart's back, even if Felton's back, even if Brown's back, how healthy are they? I don't know, and that's what worries me in this game. And like you said, I think Marlboro County at home, I think they've got it, man. They're playing great football right now. I like the Bulldogs at home, man, but should be a fantastic matchup. Don't forget Coach Roller at Dillon, a Marlboro County guy. So he always loves playing these guys and getting after it. But I think the Bulldogs at home, a little too much firepower, a little too much talent up front on defense. I think they win this football game. But should be a fantastic one. If you're in the area, certainly go check it out. Should be a great matchup. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this key 3A game here between Dillon and Marlboro County?
Guys, this is such a tough one to pick for me. I mean, like, football reasons, you start looking down and you think, like, Marlboro County should win this game in a landslide. And, like, you look at the defensive line, you look at the young quarterback over at Dillon, the revenge factor that we talked about, like, everything seems slanted towards Marlboro County, but, like, I just don't like picking against Dillon. Like, I just don't know.
You don't make a lot of money doing that.
Exactly. So, like, I did it once and I feel like I got away with it. I got lucky. But you just have to wonder, like, is this defense as good as that Loris defense was, especially in that second half against Dillon, where they completely shut those guys out? I think Marlboro County is as good, but to save face so that we don't look completely foolish if it goes the wrong way, I'm going to take Dillon in this game. I'm just going to pick them to win it. I'll do it on the pick 'em as well. But wouldn't be surprised if, this is a game where Marlboro County wins by multiple scores. But I'm going to pick Dillon to win it.
I mean, depending on, like I said, who's back for Dillon, if Capehart and Brown are full strength, I could see this being a low-scoring game here, honestly. I think both teams are really athletic on defense. I like what both groups do there. Could be in the 20s, it feels like maybe. But we'll see who's in and who's out on Friday night, which we're getting injury reports. It would certainly help us out, but we don't really know how that's going to go.
Then, well, we're talking about how good the Marlboro County defense is. That Dillon defense, I mean, Loris had to score on defense to win that game. Yeah. So, I mean, they gave up 2 scores to that explosive, experienced Loris offense. So, I mean, this could be a really like 14-10, 13, 12 type game if it really gets down to it.
Yeah, so do we need to add on to the hot routes this week, an opposite of the points factor, do like this game is a rock fight? Is that what we're going to call? I don't know what.
This might be it,
man. Could be it, man. It should be. It's going to be a great game, though. It's a rivalry game as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So excited about it.
Deion's got Dillon in a blowout. Still upset about the Loris game. And one key, that Loris game, they turned the ball over a lot, and they can't do that against Marlboro County. Got to hold on to the football.
They did that 2 years ago against Loris.
Yeah. Zach says Dillon wins, take the 2 seed in that region. The same results as last year and the past years as well. Dillon to beat down a statement win. And that is a key good point there, Zach. If Dillon wins this game, could possibly set up a round robin. Depends on what happens in Marlboro County Loris in a couple weeks as well. Should be a fun top part of that region to follow. Anthony's got Marlboro counties with defensive front. Yeah, great defensive front. I love that D-line, Anthony. They really, really athletic, really get after it for sure.
Same.
Wolfman says, toss up, no clue who wins it. Yeah, should be a good one, Wolfman. Andrew said he's taking Marlboro County.
Yeah, man, should be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a fantastic game, Highway 9. So should be a tight one.
We go to the next corner game of the week, Jerel. Time to go? I'm going to say yes.
Yep, next game.
Perfect. Our next corner game of the week, John, we go from lower state 3A to upper state 3A. We've got Mountain View Prep, the Stars at 7-0, traveling to take on the 6-1 Woodruff Wolverines. Last year, a fantastic ball game that we all three were at. MVP won 40-38 in an all-time thriller there. Last week, Mountain View Prep smoked Chapman 50-7, averaging 50 points per game on offense, 12 allowed on defense. Woodruff had a bye. 2 weeks ago, they beat Broome 49-14, averaging 39 points per game on offense, 19 allowed on defense. John, before we get into it, I'll say, I have no idea what to make of this MVP team. I've tried to follow them and see who they played. They haven't played the toughest schedule, not really their fault, obviously, but I just don't know. They are hammering everybody. Are they that good, or is it more of a, who they have played type deal? What do you make of them? What do you like in this matchup, man? It should be a fantastic one. If it's anything close to last year, it will be must-see television.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm like you. There's a lot that I just don't – we know a lot of the names at Mountain View, and we know that they're good. We know that they're talented, but things can change. I mean, you never have the same team every year, right? You know, especially at the high school level and the college level where you're only having guys, for 4 years. maybe not even that much with as much of the musical chairs that we have in the game now. But I like Woodruff in this game. I think the fact that they have played a little bit different, maybe better competition throughout the year. I like Woodruff for that matter. I think this Mountain View team, though, they are really, really good. I'm not ready to. I don't know if they can beat a really good Woodruff team this year because I just haven't seen them do it yet. Haven't seen them play a really good team yet. So we're going to see it Friday. They're going to play a really good team on Friday. But, we talked about this offline, beforehand. We don't know who's going to play for Woodruff
Yeah.
either. If Moats and Gibson aren't playing, I'd have to go a Mountain View. So, if those guys play, I like the Wolverines in this one. If they don't play, I think you got to go with Mountain View. So it's who we see on the football field Friday night for me decides who I think is going to win this game. So, Wolfman, let me borrow that coin when you're done with it, and I'll flip it for this game too.
Yeah, and MVP, like they've played. It's not they haven't played just a ton of nobody. Like they played some decent teams. Like they beat a Southside Christian team handily, a St. Joe team handily, a Crescent team handily. Like they're not playing just 1A, 2A teams, but just maybe not the top level guys, it feels like. But MVP, quarterback Mac Anderson having a phenomenal year, averaging 209 yards passing per game with an 80% completion rate, also averaging 108 on the ground per game, John. Getting it done, dual threat there for the Stars and Coach Ramsey. Receiver Katie Hainsworth averaging about 80 yards per game out wide for them. Also, Savion Booker and Chase Edwards are weapons for them. Chase Richards are weapons as well. Defensively, Jacoby Smith, Jet Hodge, A.J. Herndon. C.J. Lovelace is a sack leader on that group. I think he's got 12, so far on the season. A.J. McAllister is a playmaker as well. And then kicker Henry Phillips. He's a weapon in a tight ball game. Be sure to look out for that. If you come down to a field goal, Phillips is the man to get it done. Woodruff, you mentioned it. Health is key. I believe Aiden Gibson was out last game. Corey Moats has been out for 2 games. Not sure the status of those 2 guys, and that can completely flip just the way this ball game goes. Depends on who's in and who's out. Quarterback Connor Davis, though, in their win over Broome, 18 for 24, 298, 5 touchdowns. Can also run a little bit. He's a guy that had not played a lot of quarterback coming into the season, became the starter, and has really grown and played better week after week for Coach Sloan there. Running back Jalen Lyles filled in for Gibson in that last ball game, went 12 for 83 and a touchdown. Receiver Dre Jenkins, 4 for 102 and a touchdown. And tight end Cam Taylor, 5 for 111, 3 TDs and went over Broome. A Liberty commit, a Shrine Bowler, Super 75 guy for us, a great football player, great blocker as well as receiver there out of the offense there for Woodruff. Offensive line, I feel like is not necessarily a strong suit for them, but Coach Sloan does a great job with the screen game, the quick pass game, kind of negating that. Hard to really get after Davis, especially with the way he can move as well. He does a great job kind of managing around that. Defensively, linebacker Sean Graybill, 13 tackles at TFL. Trayvon Lee, 10 tackles, 4 TFLs. I think the front 7, the box is really good for the Wolverines. The back end, the secondary, maybe a weak spot. And Anderson, I'm sure, want to test that this Friday night, but should be a great game. From Mountain View Press perspective, this is certainly the best team they have played. I think Woodruff is. Now, I'm not sure if MVP is the best team that Woodruff has played. They played a Wren team I feel like is pretty good. But we'll see. Should be a great ball game. I did have this stat. We mentioned Anderson for MVP, dual threat guy, getting it done, 200-plus passing, 100-plus rushing. The other dual threat quarterback Woodruff faced, Fountain Inn Sam Holiday. In that ball game, Holiday had 286 passing, 92 rushing, 378 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he had his way, but Woodruff did win that football game.
They lost the game.
A lot of things to think about here, John. And you mentioned the health, man. The health is a key here. This is a game that I think we all missed last year. I think we all took Woodruff last year, and it certainly didn't happen. I just don't know who's going to play for the Wolverines. So I'm going to go MVP. I think what Anderson's done at quarterback has been great. I love what Coach Ramsey's doing offensively for that bunch with Hainsworth and that crew there. I think MVP wins this game on the road. It should be a fantastic matchup. Could certainly be wrong about this one, but I'm looking forward to it. Might be the game I'm going to be at on Friday. We'll see. But should be great. I know I rambled a lot there. Sorry, guys. Kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. But let's go MVP in a close one. Jerel, who do you like? What's the chat saying there about this one?
Yeah, I like MVP as well. I think they're going to win this football game. But MVP is much like BHP this year for me. Like, I think they're really, really good. Like, they look good on paper, just haven't really seen it so far. So, but I'm going to stick with it. Like you mentioned, Coach Ramsey there, the QB whisper really has them playing good football there. And then Woodruff, with the health concerns, you just don't know. They've also struggled a few times on defense, and this is not the type of offense that you want to struggle against. So that's why I'm leaning MVP. Obviously, being at home, they get a little bit of a boost. But, those studs you mentioned, like Gibson and Moats, I mean, those are not only like their best two players, those are two of the better players, regardless of classification in the state of South Carolina. So that is a big miss if they're unable to play in this one. But leaning MVP just based on what we're hearing and things like that. So
and I will say I do think Gibson's going to play. Not sure about Moats, and I haven't confirmed either way on both those guys, but that's kind of where I'm leaning from what I've heard from talking to folks. Zach said these two teams hate each other. Only second time playing, but is Gibson 100%? Could he play against Broome? Yeah, not sure. And that's the thing, too. Even if he does play, is he 80, 90, 100? We don't know. Andrew's taking MVP. Has some studs for sure. He likes them big. Dion says 45-14 MVP. Wow. Travis got Woodruff 31-28. Moses got MVP by 13. Zach says homecoming for Woodruff as well, so locked in with the Woodruff guys. But yeah, I think Coach Sloan will have them ready. I mean, because they know this is the region title. This is a huge game here. I'm sure they want revenge from last year as well. Should be a fun ball game. Brandon says this is a tough one. Woodruff by 4, 41-37. Wolfman says the coin's waiting for you, John. Hey, we all need it for this one, I feel. Brelly says he thinks MVP Tech's looking pretty good this year. They are playing great football. They are, man. And just they have not played a close game besides they haven't played a close game. And they've won every game by quick math here in my head. I mean, shoot.
I'll say like 20 or 30.
The closest game's 43 or 41-19, so 22 points is their closest game.
Rolling teams.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Patrick's got Woodruff. Noah says Wolverines by 21. Wow.
Oh.
They would take a huge jump in our poll if that happens.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about, 3A being really, really close and competitive this year. So this is going to definitely shake up, what we think about the upper state in 3A. But let's go to the next game, guys.
Before we do, Jerel and John, another question. We talk about these two coaches here in particular are really good offensive masterminds, like game planning type stuff. The fact that Woodruff had an extra week, they had a bye week last week, how much does that help them? And then on the MVP side, the fact that they haven't played a close game where they've had to use all their stuff yet. How much does that help them as well? I feel like you're going to see some new wrinkles out of the Stars and the Wolverines this Friday.
I think you talk about who this benefits more from those two situations. I'm going to go Woodruff. I think the extra week, especially with the injuries, giving another week's of time to get back healthy, and you have another week where you can really soak in what the game plan is. You can, don't know how they operate with the bye week, but essentially if you want it, you've got 2 weeks to prepare for MVP. I think that's bigger. MVP may not have unloaded everything they've got in the playbook, to this point, but how many times we see even college teams where, you see a trick play or you see a play and it doesn't work out. And I think Saban said something along the lines of like, we run a play 100 times and get it right before we put it out in a game. Running it in practice and getting it right in practice is totally different under the lights on Friday night. So with that said, I like Woodruff in the situation they're in more so.
Yeah, for sure. I think in that situation, it benefits Woodruff, but eventually, man, you got to get off script. You got to get off those regular, game plans, and you got to actually, execute, what you do well. So, it just seems like MVP is executing at a higher level. Not to say that Woodruff's bad. Y'all know that. Like, I've been high on Woodruff the last 2.5, 3 years. So I think they're both, very good teams, especially offensively. So,
I mean, a game like this can come down to a playmaker making a play. And last year we saw it. Katie Hainsworth, a one-handed grab, goes for a touchdown on the sideline, wins the football game. Could certainly happen with Hainsworth again. Could happen with Gibson for Woodruff. So could just be which star is going to make the biggest play at the end of the ball game.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's go to the next one, guys.
Our fifth Kona game of the week, our SCISA game of the week, Pinewood Prep at Northwood Academy. The Panthers 5-2, the Chargers 7-1. John, Pinewood Prep had a bye last week. 2 weeks ago, lost to Wilson Hall 28-21, averaging 45 on offense, 19 on defense. Quarterback Silas Brawner had a good game, though, 21 for 28, 2 touchdowns. Running back Grayson Salago. Receiver Jaden Alexander, 8 for $115 and a touchdown. LaVorce Lucas, 6 for 79 and a touchdown. Defensively, Jacob Sweet, 9 tackles. Mason Howard, Will Watson, 7 tackles each. Northwood, a big win over Porter Gal, 34-7. Averaging 39 on offense, 10 allowed on defense. Quarterback Kevin Johnson, running back Caven Ford, 18 for 200, 3 tuds. Michael Polite, 13 for 82 and 2 more touchdowns. Aiden Hogan's a playmaker at the receiver spot for them. Defensively, MJ Davis, 6 tackles at TFL. Cody McCleary, 7 tackles at TFL. Antoine Henderson, 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, John. This Pinewood Prep team, I feel like they've been missing kind of that running back, stepping up for Jeremiah Singleton, who had a huge year last year for them. Nobody has really filled that void. Salago has played great, but has not been to that Singleton level, it feels like. And then Northwood, they just keep rolling. They knocked off Hammond a couple weeks back, man, and it wasn't really even that close. Like, Coach Waters' bunch is playing great football. I think these are 2 of the better teams in SCISA. I think Pinewood's a really good shot to win 3A. Northwood, really good shot to win 4A. Who do you like in this matchup? Because to me, it feels like the Chargers just can't continue to roll right now.
Yeah, and I love Pinewood. I love Coach Holloman being down there, with this program. I think he has done a great job. He's continuing to do a good job. He's going to do a great job in the future for however long he wants to be there.
Yeah.
However, what you just said, Northwood beat Hammond.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Yeah.
I'm going Northwood. I mean, that's as much as I need to know. That's as much as I need to see.
I agree. I think the bye helps Pinewood, but I still think Northwood just too much. I mean, they've got playmakers on both sides of the football, man. They are so talented right now. I think the Chargers win this one, continue their winning ways. And this is a team, too, that they've played a super tough schedule. Like, their one loss, they lost to the Cannon School out of North Carolina, who's a really good private school up there. But they've also played, Strong Rock Christian, and then a couple other schools, too, out of state. They're doing a great job right now. I think they're a great football team if they win this game on Friday. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on our SCISA game of the week?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Northwood. Again, like John prefaced, I think Pinewood's really, really good. They're contenders. But, this Northwood program is just rolling right now. Trying to do some quick math. I mean, not only did they beat Hammond, they follow it up the next 2 weeks, and they win both games by a combined 97-7.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
no letdown, huh?
Yeah, just no letdown whatsoever after, slaying that dragon that is Hammond in SCISA there. So, I just don't see a situation where anybody can stop this train. It seems like it's rolling. I think the only, situations once they get into the playoffs. But as of right now, I think they cruise the rest of the schedule. Give me Northwood here.
Perfect. Any comments from the chat on this game or any of our other Kona games before we move on to the next portion of the program?
You know what? I think we are good for comments here. Let's go ahead and keep the show rolling.
Once again, our Kona games of the week, we had Dixie at Ware Shoals, Hilton Head Island at May River, Dillon at Marlboro County, Mountain View Prep at Woodruff, and Pinewood Prep at Northwood Academy. 5 of the biggest games across the state. Jerel, let's thank some friends of the program. Then we'll come back in, go through the 5A slate all the way down through SCISA. Guys, if you missed part of the program, you can always go back and watch it when we get finished. It'll be live on Facebook and YouTube for you to go back and look at all those big games we talked about. But Jerel, shout out to friends of the program, and we'll start looking at the 5A slate.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with the Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopaedic and Neurosurgical Associates, Kona offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
John, let's take a look at the 5A slate now here in Week 8.
We'll start in the Low Country first. RB Stall hosting West Ashley. Greenwood on the road against Woodmont.
A red-hot Greenwood team. I got to check them out last week, beating Greenville pretty handily. I think it was 42-14 was the final there. A big fourth quarter for Coach Liner's bunch. A really fun group to watch. Tristan Lewis, Trey Crawford, Demarion Roman, all those guys. They got Desiree Christian, Jay Duncan out wide. A really fun team, a really solid team. And it was a good win for them, John. We talked about in the previous show last week how they kind of struggle sometimes to finish teams off and finish games. They really did a good job. Talking to Tristan Lewis post-game, he said, hey, we kept our foot on their necks, and they certainly did. So great win by them, a fun team, a great game down there at the BAB. Jerel, feel free to pop in.
No, I just had to eat some crow. I mean, I talked about how good Scoot Watson's defense has been and went back in the stats, looked at last year. They completely shut me up. That offense was electric last week. They kept moving the chains for sure. Big win for Greenwood.
And that's a good Greenville team.
Yeah. One of the best atmospheres in best stadiums in the state down there at Greenwood. They do a great job. Appreciate Graham and all the crew down there. Coach Hudson for having us. Coach Liner for having us. Also, if you hadn't checked out the Coach Chris Liner interview post-game, there were some quotes in there that people are liking a lot. Talking about Made in Greenwood, a really cool statement there from him. If you guys go check out. But, John, let's continue back to the rest of the slate here.
Yeah, we'll see St. James hosting Conway. Hillcrest on the road against Easley. That Greenville Red Raider team hosting Malden, a better Malden team this year.
Yeah, and Greenville – they got to get something figured out on offense. Even these games they were winning, John, early in the year, weren't scoring a ton of points, really came back to bite them, last week, scoring just 14 against Greenwood. You're not going to win many football games doing that. Need to get the offense figured out a little bit, figure out a way to put some more points on the football, on the scoreboard there. But I think Malden's a dangerous team. Can't overlook them for sure.
No, not this year. Ashley Ridge at home against Somerville.
Somerville, a huge win last week over James Island. Like I said, in the downpour, a late touchdown pass, Stafford to Jaden Kelly Murray for the victory there. Their defense continue to do what they do, man, playing great on the football. Ashley Ridge has got some weapons on offense. They can score some points, but I think Somerville's still too talented. I think they win this football game.
Probably going to see a much different game than what we saw last Friday. Might be more points in this one this week. Indianland, a 7-0 Indianland team that I really like a lot. I got to see them play earlier this year. A fast team, athletic group. They're hosting Clover. This Indianland team, if you're not keeping your eye on them, you need to start doing it. They're a good group.
Yeah, and that's a huge region matchup there too. Because you got to think Northwestern's still probably the favorite in that region. But after that, it's a mix of Indianland, Clover, kind of a Catawba Ridge maybe in there too. So really big for seeding here. I think the Indianland group for Coach Hastings is playing great football. I think they win this game as well.
I think so. Dorman travels to Wade Hampton. Burns is on the road, or Burns hosting Eastside. I got so used to saying Burns on the road last year. It's muscle memory now.
Hey, watch out for that game.
Eastside's not bad.
Burns got off the loss last week. Eastside's improved. Could be tight.
Irmo hosting White Knoll. Also a game. Don't overlook it. White Knoll's good. I don't think they're as good as Irmo, but they are a good football team. Could be competitive.
White Knoll was hanging around, had a chance to beat Dutch Fork for a little while last week. Couldn't quite get it done. Jais McKeever at quarterback's doing a great job there for Coach Pelham. Irmo, they continue to roll, man. They are playing some really good football. Hammered River Bluff last week. They got so many talented pieces all over the field, man. I think the Yellow Jackets win again. But like you said, can't sleep on White Knoll. I think Irmo's just a little bit better right now.
Catawba Ridge will go to Nation Ford. James Island is at home against Fort Dorchester. Big time game here. Used to be a really big time game. Still a big game. Rock Hill against Northwestern.
Who's the designated home team in that one, John, this year?
They say Rock Hill.
Okay.
Myrtle Beach is at home against Socastee.
Myrtle Beach won their rivalry game, won the victory bell last week over Conway. Playing good football, a team that kind of under the radar is 5-2, John. Myrtle Beach not playing bad this year. They got a good squad down there for Coach Wilson.
North Myrtle Beach, they'll host Carolina Forest. Lugoff Elgin will travel to Westwood.
Could be another points factory there. Lugoff Elgin can light it up. Richardson, Sadiq have done a great job. Westwood with Cunningham. I believe Rios was out last week. I'm not sure if he's back or not. They've done a great job putting up points for Coach Burris as well. That'll be a fun matchup on Friday night. Huge for region seeding as well.
And, the next game here, Ridgeview hosting West Florence. You know how good that Ridgeview defense is. Lugoff Elgin's offense had been on fire the last few weeks. Goose egg against Ridgeview. That's a really good football team, a really good team that's got a 5-2 mark, but they're better than that. Lucy Beckham, they'll host Goose Creek. Gaffney is at home against Riverside.
A Gaffney team had a big win last week over Burns. Riverside kind of woke up as well. They were impressive, scored some points. Gideon Merritt had a big game at quarterback for them. I think Gaffney they've kind of figured out, got to rely on the run game. Kirby and Hill and Boughton, they're running football. That's going to be their go-to. Patrick says, John, we're keeping receipts over here. I love it, Patrick. I love it. I love it. Tell him, Patrick says, Chris. Yeah, still didn't get the pass game going like we were hoping for, but the run game and defense was enough to win that football game. Coach Littlejohn's bunches seemed to kind of start figuring it out a little bit after some early season turmoil, playing good football. I think they win again at home with the reservation on Friday.
Hey, that's what it comes down to. Whether you're throwing the ball or playing defense, running the ball, as long as you get the win, who cares, And that's what they did last week, and I think that's what they do again this Friday. Berkeley, there will be at home against Wando. JL Mann will welcome in TL Hanna. Stratford at home against Cane Bay.
A Stratford team that had a bit of a close one last week against Lucy Beckham. 2 weeks ago, beat a really good Berkeley team. Came back, won a tight one against Lucy Beckham last week. And Cane Bay, a team that kind of surprised them last year, upset them at the end of the year out of nowhere. A team I'm sure they will not overlook. It's a team they want to get some revenge on. I think the Knights roll in this one, but it seems like Cane Bay has maybe somewhat had their number the last couple of years. But I think the Knights, do talented. I think they win this football game.
Yeah, this is the best Stratford team we've seen in a while.
McGowan, I think 250-plus back-to-back weeks, doing a great job running the football there for Coach McDaniel.
And then Spartanburg, with their upset win last week, they will travel to Boiling Springs Friday. Chapin is at home against River Bluff. Dutch Fork will host Lexington, and Sumter on the road against Blythewood.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 5A. Noah says, what's your take on the Hillcrest Rams struggling to beat JL Man, but that doesn't say much. Hillcrest is a good football team. They've lost some tough games. They lost to Clover, lost to Greenwood, and lost to TL Hanna, which, 3 pretty good football teams there. They're playing well. They've got a bunch of young pieces. Jackson Free at quarterback's a great player. Nye Allen. I like Caden Stevenson, the young freshman, a lot out wide. Kyle Jackson on defense. I think they're a good talent. I know, John, you watched him play as well. I like what Hillcrest is building. I don't know if they're a state title contender this year just because of the youth they have there, but I think Coach Swag's doing a great job. They will be a good football team the next couple of years. I think this year they will make the playoffs. I think they can win a game or two, but we'll see past that.
Yeah, I think it's that Greenwood game. You could tell they were a little bit younger. I think they are talented. I really like the quarterback. I really like Jackson Free. I think he's a really good, you can tell that he's looking at the whole field when he's got the ball.
He's poised back there. Yeah.
You can tell he gets it. He's not getting the ball and looking at one guy and going, well, hey, this is where the ball is going, whether it gets picked off or whatever. He's looking at the entire field. He moves well. And I think the defensive line plays pretty well, but they're a little inconsistent. They'll have a couple good drives, so they'll have a drive where they're moving the ball and then, it kind of goes flat. That's a lot of teams in high school football, but I think as this team continues to develop, continues to grow, literally develop and grow, they're young kids and they'll build that chemistry. They'll build confidence, continuity. They're going to be a good team. I think they're probably going to play their best football here at the end of the year because that's happening before our eyes. They're a good team. Again, this year is not their year, but stick with these guys because I think in a year or two they could be a really, really good football team.
Justin says, is Indian Land Friel deep run type of team? I think they're really good. I don't know if they're state title good, Justin, but I still think they could second, third round of the playoffs, maybe the upper state title game possibly. We'll see. I think they're really good. Obviously, they got to play Northwestern in a couple weeks. We'll really find out more about them at that point. But I like them. Got a ton of talent there. This is a program that's been building, it feels like, for Coach Hastings. I think they're the real deal. I think they're solid.
I think they're really good too. I'd like to see Indiana. I think they'll really take that next level. I want to see them throw the ball a little bit more, but they're very fast. They're athletic and they got good size. To answer your question, yes, they are for real. Are they going to beat Northwestern? No, I doubt it, but they are a very good football team.
Scott says, Myrtle Beach, let's go. Stud running back next, Cam Scadaboo. Yeah, Mike Cohen does a great job there for Coach Wilson's bunch. That Seahawks team has been really playing good football lately. I appreciate you getting in here, as always, on Scott. Jerel? Oh, Mark's is Ridgeview on a roll right now. Yes, they're playing good football, Mark. Tons of playmakers. Great defense for Coach Howard's bunch as well. I like what they brought to the table this season.
I hope the young man is not playing like Cam Scadaboo as far as using that noggins, unless we might need to get him a guardian cap or something like that. But he seems like he is having a great season. Guys, let's roll on to 4A.
Let's look down at 4A now, John.
Walhalla will be hosting Berea. Westside is on the road against Fountain Inn.
That's a big game there for the region title. Not region title, but just region standings. I think, Wren's going to be obviously in there with a chance to win the region as well. Two teams that can put up points. Fountain Inn, we talked about them all year long. Can they figure out on defense really is the key for them, it feels like. Westside playing better and better, man. A couple nice wins in a row. DJ says Westside Rams for life. They're getting hot at the right time, growing up, as you could say, maybe there for Coach Lane. Good
to see some Westside fans back in the chat. It's been a few weeks. Good to have you guys back after a couple big wins.
I was Fountain Inn on my points factory last week. I might be again this week. That'll be a big one there with Westside. Request says Westside maybe the toughest non-region schedule in the state. Definitely prepare them for region play. Bearwood's what we all thought. Yeah, getting better and better. 480 to 8 touchdowns the last 2 games, playing good football for Coach Lane for sure.
And that should be an exciting game. I think that'll be a pretty competitive game there too. Lakewood will be at home against Lower Richland. South Florence on the road against Wilson.
A sneaky game compared to years past. Wilson much improved from what they have been. Coach Brian Wilson doing a fantastic job there with that group. I still think South Florence too talented this year. I think they win this football game.
I think so too. But yeah, Wilson definitely a good team this year. They've looked very good all year. North Augusta is at home against Airport.
Want to shout out running back Mike Doe, North Augusta, Shrine Bowler, guard web commit. We had an interview with him drop last night. Really good stuff. It's on our Facebook, our YouTube pages, our podcast as well. Really fun catching up with him, a guy that has played a lot of football the last couple of years. Talked about him a lot. It feels like enjoyed catching up with him. And I think North Augusta rolls this week. Man, they are a really good football team.
Aiken be hosting Midland Valley. Brooklyn Casey on the road against Gilbert. South Aiken will go to Gray. Dreer hosting AC Flora. We talked about one of our Kona games of the week here. Hilton Head travels to May River. York will be hosting Camden. Blue Ridge is at Travelers Rest. Lawrence hosting Wren. Lancaster at home against South Point. Greer will travel to Seneca.
Watch out, Seneca. Greer is getting better. Calvin McCoy at running back is doing a hell of a job. 200-plus yards last week. Sneaky spot there for the Bobcats.
Bishop England hosting Beaufort. Colleton County at home against Bluffton. Hartsville will travel to Darlington.
Another good rivalry there. Hartsville, Ford Wallace, a young quarterback, starting to get better and better for Coach Calabrese. Coach Johnson's done a great job with that Falcons program the last couple of years. Jalen Augustus is one of the better players in the state at the quarterback spot. Should be a fun game. I remember a couple of years ago, John, I want to say it's like 70-0. Like it was a complete blowout in Hartsville's favor. I think it's going to be a lot closer this year than that. So should be a fun matchup. Love those two guys getting together as always.
Yeah, this Darlington program, the last few years, they have taken some serious strides. Really, really impressive what they've done the last 2 years. Daniel will be hosting Pickens, and Emerald will take on Southside. That game at Emerald.
Jerel, comments on 4A from you or the chat?
Yeah, got some good comments here in 4A. Again, good to see Westside fans. They really are. They're playing really good football right now. So good to see.
Brandon says Fusey would have taken Fountain in. Now he went to West Side, so they're starting to get things together. Yeah, certainly playing better. Should be a fun matchup. Steven said, what's that offense settling in? 324, 4 touchdowns for Bear Woods last week.
Very impressive.
Wolfman says, North Dakota still running the 2 cornerback system. One of really cost them hasn't hurt them yet. Yeah, and I think part of the thing why it doesn't hurt them a ton, Wolfman, is that they want to run the ball first and foremost with Doe behind that offensive line. So it's not as big of a factor as a team that wants to throw it around a ton. But we'll see what they do down the stretch here. Travis says, West Side 98-7 the last 2 games. Jessica says, Camden, they should get a win this week over a York team that is down a little bit, Jessica. I think they get a big victory after a bye week last week. Dion says, Aiken with the upset, 21-14 over Midland Valley. Midland Valley, surprising loss to Gilbert last week for me there. Aiken, started off really hot, started off 2-0, lost 5 in a row now. I don't know what they've got, if they're better or not. We'll see. I like
Dion might be on to something.
Yeah, hey, could be. North Augusta keep the pressure on Gray for top spots, says Wolfman. Yeah, I agree. I don't see Gray losing 2 games in the region, which is probably what you're going to need to happen if you're North Augusta if you want to get that top spot. I don't see the War Eagles doing that.
Brandon just kicking a rival while they're down.
Yeah, I think Ren rolls as well. Ryan says Gap undefeated in the region. They're playing great right now. They've already knocked off a couple of the big boys with Spartanburg and Burns, so they're doing a good job there. Wolfman says Mike Doe going to go off for senior night against Airport, going to be ugly. A guy averaging over 10 yards a carry. I think he's got 1,200 yards. What do we say, 19 touchdowns, something crazy already, Jerel. Having a heck of a senior season. Ren can't stop anybody, says Roquest. I don't know. Ren's not a bad defense. I like the guys on that side of the football. I think they're pretty good on that side. Jonathan says Red Fox is getting better. Hartsville South Lawrence Region Championship, which it has been the last couple of years, it feels like, for sure. I think we're trending that direction, Jonathan.
Let's go to 3A, guys.
Looking down at 3A now, John.
Yeah, we'll see. Walkamaw is at home against Ainer. Palmetto at home against Powdersville.
Big Patriots win in overtime for Christ Church last week. That team continues to roll. Just tons of playmakers. They get it done when it matters, and that was a big win for them last week.
Pendleton is at home against West Oak. Oceanside hosting Battery Creek. Belton-honea Path, one of their better opponents here lately. They'll travel to Crescent. Still think they win that game pretty handedly.
Yeah, Crescent's not bad. 5-2 on the season, but you look at the other good team they played. Mountain View Prep got beat by 22 in that one. Got beat by Saluda by 22 as well. They've not really beat anybody. I guess they beat a decent Liberty team. I think BHP rolls in this one, locks up the region title this week. I think they're the much better team.
Swansea will host Silver Bluff.
Swansea 7-0, John. Talk about it, John. 7-0, John.
Very good. Dillon, one of our kind of games of the week. Dillon traveling to Marlboro County. Going to be a big game there. Chapman hosting Union. I don't know what the game. I haven't looked at our pick'em yet. That'd be a tough one to have in the pick'em if it is. Southside Christian will be at St. Joseph's.
Little rivalry there in that one.
Yeah, big time. Another Kona game of the week here. Woodruff hosting Mountain View. Loris will travel to Georgetown. Carolina High hosting Christ Church. And Fox Creek at home against Keenan.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 3A. While you're pulling this up, I do want to shout out the Powdersville social media team did a great job kind of making a little fun of us after the big Patriots win over Christ Church on Friday. So hats off to them for that. Love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Let me pull up some comments. Let me see. You guys, everybody's talking amongst themselves, so it's hard to pull up some comments.
A lot of back and forth conversation. Big Bears,
sure.
7-7, says Courtney. Wolfman says BHP 49-0. Travis says BHP big. I think we're all kind of leaning that way, it feels like. Yep. Brandon says Newberry looked better, 41-14 over Fox Creek. I think they're on a bye this week. I believe so as well, Brandon. That was a big victory. Zach says timeout is Chapman still winless. Who would have thought that? They are. They're 0-7.
Okay.
I believe they're 0-7. Yeah, 0-7 for them. That's a surprise to me, too. I thought they had a bunch of young guys that were growing up. Have not gotten it going yet this season.
And I think Union's got one win.
That's right. Brody says, Dark Side checking in MVP, going to ruin homecoming. Yeah, Brody, that was like a great game. We talked about that back at our Colonial Games week when the show is over. You're going to check it out at the beginning of the show. Looking forward to that one between the Stars and the Wolverines. Dion says, told you all about Fox Creek Fool's Gold. Yeah, they played two real teams last 2 weeks. They lost both the games. So they have certainly fallen off pretty quickly, Dion. Maybe this is OCA just getting started. They're already there. Like they're top of the top for us, I would say, Nathan. But yeah, we know they're the real deal, man. I think they're going for 3 in a row this year. Michael says Christchurch still the best. Yeah, they are playing good football. It's a tough loss last week. They are much improved from last year. Will be a tough team in the playoffs. Brandon's got Chapman over Union County.
Yeah, and there was a mention of that pillow fight between Lawrence and Southside. I think that's what you guys called it last week. Characterized
Lawrence
that game.
That first victory.
Huge win, 58-0 over the Southside Tigers. So big win for those guys.
Yeah, could get a little confidence.
Well, Jerel,
For
let's
sure.
shout out some friends of the program before we look down at the 2A, 1A, and SCISA slates.
Schedule your sewer drain clearing with Preferred Home Services today. If we can't clear it, it's free.
Electrical, plumbing, cooling too.
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on the go, the pick up and go, and the oh, I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
John, let's look down at the 2A slate now.
We'll lead off with Batesburg Leesville at home against American Leadership. Whale Branch hosting Lake Marion.
Whale Branch, a big win over Edisto last week. Edisto team been playing good football. I think it beat them 28-24, I want to say. Nice win there for the Warriors in that group.
They needed that. Manning is at home against Atlantic Collegiate. Barnwell hosting Hampton County. Typically, that would be a massive game.
Yeah, that's been a really big in the last couple of years. A lot of times region title on the line. Barnwell a little bit down this year, had some injuries as well. Hampton County starting to round into form. I don't know if you guys saw Player of the Week, Jalen Singletary had a monster game for Coach Hannah's team last week. They were playing great football. A team that in Hampton County, scheduled really tough non-region, man. Played some bigger boys, some tough opponents, had some injuries, took some lumps early on, but they're really hitting their stride now as region play rolls along.
Philip Simmons will travel to Academic Magnet. Eau Claire at home against Fairfield Central.
The Griffins need a bounce back, man. That was a whooping last week by Chester. Great win for the Cyclones. Fairfield Central needs to play well this week.
Sherall is at home against a 6-1 North Central team.
I think Sherall wins just North Central. I don't think they're as good as their 6-1 record. Just haven't really played a tough schedule yet. But Sherall off of a bye at home, I like the Braves in that one.
East Clarendon hosting Mullins. Woodland will be at Burke. Strom Thurmond is hosting Pelion.
A sneaky good game there. Pelion, not a bad football team at all. Much better than they have been in the last couple of years. I still think Strom Thurmond at home with the Peachfields. Too much talent. Simpkins, Lee, that whole crew there. I think they win this football game for Coach Webb.
And how about Braylon Staley getting, again, I think second time this year, getting a SEC Freshman of the Week honors. So great to hear that. Great to see him doing well. Chesterfield, a Chesterfield team that's looked pretty good lately. They're at home against Buford. Liberty hosting Chesney.
That's for number 2 in that region. A big matchup between those two, seeing who gets that second spot.
Sorry, I said Chesterfield. I meant Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson hosting Central.
Are you trolling right now, John?
I know they're close together. I think they played last week?
I don't remember.
It went AJ's way. I know that. But AJ, the Vols taking on Central DePage at home.
All of a sudden, after AJ's win over Sherall, Central's win over Sherall, this is for the region title now, I believe here. AJ, a team that we have not talked a ton about. Lost some games on either 4-3, like don't have the cleanest record, but seem to be getting hot right now. They beat a good Louisville team, got hammered by Fairfield Central, then came around and beat Jerel and Chesterfield back-to-back. I feel like I don't know a ton about them. I know Central's really good. I believe they had a bye last week, if I'm not mistaken. They're playing good football right now. Tons of playmakers there for Coach Easton's squad. Saw them firsthand a couple weeks back. Man, I like what they're doing at Central. I think they win this game, basically lock up the region this Friday. Brandon says that's a huge game now, region title. Yeah, it is region title. I think Central just too much, man. Lou Allen, Holloman, that crew on offense. I think they win that football game.
We'll see Saluda hosting 96. Timberland will be at home against Andrews.
Andrews playing better football lately. They had a big win last week. Coach Durham's bunch seems to be kind of figuring out how a young quarterback playing better and better. A big win over Woodland last week, who was a pretty solid football team. I think Andrews is a team to look out for down the stretch. I don't know if they win this week or not, but they are getting better and better.
Yeah, I really like this Timberland team. I think they are pretty good. Chester will travel to Columbia. Clinton at home against Landrum. And
the Red Devils are rolling, man. Like Zach mentioned earlier, playing such great football right now. It's like the guys have all kind of figured out their roles, felt found their spot in as far as the team goes, and doing a good job. Zach says Clinton senior Javen Cook, if he scores this week, will have 20 touchdowns on the year. Needs less than 100 yards to go to 1,000. I like his chance to get both of those this week, Zach. We'll put it that way.
And then to close out, we got Marion at home against Lake City.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 2A?
Yeah, let me go back. We got some residual 3A comments real quick. So
bring them in too.
Yeah, start with those.
Wolfman says Newberry's going to be there in title consideration. Yeah, certainly one of the favorites in 3A. Randy says tough game for Christchurch. 4 downs inside the 10 to go ahead by 2 touchdowns under 4 minutes left. Couldn't get it done. Yeah, I know Powdersville had a couple big goal line stands there late in that one to come back and win that football game.
Shout out that Powdersville defense for proving me right. I love it.
It's gritty.
Justin said everybody upper state 3 has to get past BHP. Yeah, certainly you would think BHP, Woodruff MVP, probably the 3 favorites upper state, and then Powdersville as well right now. Hampton County by 30, says Terrence. County by a lot, says Bulldog. Dion says 50-7, Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond by a lot, says Bulldog. I think so too. Pillion's improved, but not that much improved. Chris says Strom Thurmond big as well. We make big moves as East Coast solid team. They are. I think they're 6-1 on the year. They're playing great football right now. The Wolverines are really good up in the trenches on both sides of the football. I like what the Wolves are doing. Kent says Timberland by 14. A sneaky good game there, Kent. I think we're all probably agreeing going Timberland there, but should be a fun matchup. Chris says Saluda rolls as well. Top for Region 2 is finding their seats, which seat they'll be in. Yeah, a lot of moving pieces still for sure in Region 2. Blacksburg got their first win over Landrum. They did, Brandon. That was a great win for Coach Bachelor's bunch, and they've been kind of fighting it this year. Happy to see them get that victory.
I want to give another shout out to Bray Staley. I was actually in Neyland last weekend. Got to go my first time.
Tickets, Jerel?
I did get tickets. I went
to
go
get you
see
tickets?
them. No, he didn't get me tickets. I mean, that would have been nice for what I paid. But if you haven't been to Dillon, go check that out. It's a great environment. But it just pissed me off that he left the state of South Carolina. How do we not keep this kid here playing for the Tigers or the Gamecocks? But shout out to him, Braylon Staley. He was gracious to us while he was in state. So super excited to see his success. Really, really, really hard worker, great kid. So getting it done. Let's go to 2A, guys. Or excuse me, 1A. Excuse me.
Looking down at 1A now, John.
Abbeville travels to Whitmire. Great Falls at home against C.A. Johnson. Baptist Hill will host St. John's. Lakeview on the road against Latta. That's a bit of a coin flip game there as well. I think that's going to be a pretty good ball game there.
A great rivalry always between those two teams that don't like each other. Both teams the last couple weeks have gotten hammered by Carver's Bay, so I think that we found out that they're not quite top level in that region, you would say. I think Latta a little bit better this year, which is how often have we said that the Vikings are better than the Gators over the past couple of years? Not a lot, but I think Coach Eisman's bunch is poised to get a victory at home this week.
And Bamberg Earhart will host Ridgeland. Calhoun County is at home against Blackville Hilda. Louisville hosting Mac. Or is this the game? Louisville and Mac we were supposed to play.
Yes. Yes,
got canceled or
today.
postponed today.
I know Louisville trying to find a replacement. It's going to be tough in region play to find somebody who wants to get an extra game in there. So we'll see if it happens or not, which sucks because it's going to be homecoming as well for Louisville. So you really hate to see that. But yeah, that one, Louisville Maccabi, not on the schedule anymore. That one was canceled today.
Hey, I don't think Carver's Bay has a game Friday. It's a long trip, but
Yeah.
Wagner Sally will be at home against Rich Spring Minetta. Hunter Kenner Tyler hosting Williston Elko. Johnsonville will travel to Green Sea Floyd's. Allendale Fairfax is at home against Denmark Olar. Branchville at home against Military Magnet. McCormick will travel to Calhoun Falls. Lee Central at home against Lamar. And
another thing I want to stop for a second there, John. I feel like we have not talked about Lamar in like 2 months. You know, what do you know? They're sitting there at 5-2, like playing good football for Coach Boyd. First year head coach Tyler Boyd doing a great job there. You know, their 2 losses are to Central and to Darlington, 2 bigger teams, 2 pretty good teams. They've been playing great lately. You know, we know Lamar is going to be there at the end. They always are. I just want to give them a little bit of a shout out. We had talked about them in a little bit, but I think they win again against Lee Central, but it should be a fun ball game down there. Lee Central's not bad at all. I think Lamar wins this one.
Yeah, Lamar definitely be a program once the playoffs roll around. Well, Silver Fox will get a lot more love at that point too.
Yeah.
And then our last game of the week in 1A is our Conan game of the week, where Shoals hosting Dixie.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 1A slate. Ezekiel says Louisville's back to full strength, looking scary. Watch out. And I know that's one thing too. Like, it's like they played so good the last 2 weeks. I think Jai Howells had 10 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, 5 per game. Really hitting their stride. I felt like the Lions were, and then have to take a bye week when you don't want one. Not what you want to see there for Coach Usher's bunch. Really hate that for that group of kids.
Let's jump into SCISA, guys.
Let's look at the SCISA slate now, John.
Yeah, we've got 2 games on Thursday night. Augusta Christian hosting Clear Dot Charter, and we'll have Bethesda hosting Williamsburg. And then let's flip over to Friday night.
Yeah, and you know, we had our SCISA game of the week as Pinewood Prep, Northwood Academy, but if it had been on a Friday, there's a real chance Bethesda, Williamsburg would have been our SCISA game of the week. Those are 2 really good teams there. Williamsburg, probably the front runner in 1A, Bethesda front runner in 2A this year. Should be a fantastic matchup with those 2 on Thursday night.
And then on Friday, a small slate this week. Hilton Head Prep hosting St. John's. Cross Academy hosting Jefferson Davis. Calhoun Academy will be traveling to Patrick Henry. Our Kona game of the week for SCISA, Pinewood Prep traveling to Northwood Academy. Wilson Hall will be at home against Florence Christian.
This one was a postponed game from a couple weeks back due to some rain. You know, this was actually, I think, our SCISA game of the week on that week before it got postponed. I think Wilson Hall, too much depth. I think they win this game at home.
Kings Academy will travel to Palmetto Christian. Thomas Hayward at home against John Paul II.
Thomas Hayward's won 2 in a row now. I think they may have figured it out. A team that we're all really high on going into the season. You know, the state title winner last year. I think they're kind of getting hot at the right time there for Coach Malford. They beat Patrick Henry, Andrew Jackson back-to-back weeks. I think they're getting right now.
And PD Academy hosting Lee Academy.
Another team starting to figure it out. The Golden Eagles, they had 52 on the board at halftime last week, John, behind Judson Martin, Ryan Small, and crew, playing good football there for Coach Jonathan King. And I do want to bring this up. You mentioned the small slate in SCISA. It's one thing that SCISA does that I really like that I kind of wish the high school league would adopt. And I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me here, they take a week on the schedule every year where they give everybody a bye. And this year it's this week. And then if there's a game that's postponed or game that's get canceled, you move it to that week. So it's a built-in bye for situations like a big hurricane week or a big storm week or whatever. And I think that's why you're seeing a smaller slate, John, just having some games moved there from early on in the season. I kind of wish the high school league would adopt that strategy as well, because I feel like every year we have a weekend where it's just a torrential downpour or we get a hurricane or, you know, whatever it is, and something happens where we can't play a ton of games and teams are trying to scramble to cancel games and fit games in. And if you had this built in here, you could kind of make it happen. But I don't know if the high school league will go to that route. I don't know. It's easier with SCISA with fewer teams to make that happen. But I think it's a really neat idea. Really good job there by Mr. Fanning making that happen.
Yeah, that's a really smart move.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the SCISA slate. Cross on a bye this week beat a solid Scott Springs team last week. They certainly did, and it wasn't really competitive. That was a big win for the Trojans. Coach Wright's bunch continues to impress. Scott Springs, a team that I'm high on. I think they're good. just not quite at the level of Cross and some of those top contenders there in 1A, it feels like. Jonathan says, might be a lot of injuries, only 15 players ready to play. Yeah, that's what I read today. You hate that. And it's something too, John, where I don't know if you're McBee, if you can get healthy enough to play any more games, or is that the season? I just don't know. Like 15 is a tough number because, I mean, I know it's a 1A school. You're not going to have a ton in general, but you still you want to have 20, 25 at least probably to be able to play. I don't know if you're getting that many back. I just don't know.
Let's keep it rolling, guys.
Let's shout out to friends of the program, Jerel. We'll come back. We'll do our pick'em and our polls on the program.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. Our Pick'em brought to you by Hannah Engineering. Each and every week we do 11 games across the state. We post it on our Facebook page, our Twitter page. We send out an email as well for you guys to join our weekly Pick'em. We do a year-long prize into the year. Whoa, Jerel, Pop getting early on us here. We do a year-long prize for the winner of the year. We drop your lowest score throughout the season as well. And we'll do a couple pop-up prizes here and there. Once again, brought to you by Hannah Engineering. Yeah, let's go now. Our Week 7 leaders in our Pick'em contest. We had 4 with 11. We had Daryl, JD, and Lance, all with a perfect 11 score. A ton of 10s. Looks like probably what there, I don't know, 12, 15 names maybe, John. A lot of 10s there. John led us with 10. I had 9 and Jerel with 8. So a lot of high scores in Week 7. And now our overall leaders, Jerel, we have Daryl, Peyton, Andrew, and Ryan all at 58. A couple 57s with Chandler and Jimmy. And then 56s with Dale, Kyle, Brandon, Chase, and Richard. I've got 59. John and Jerel at 55. Their lowest score has been dropped at this point, so we're still working through that. But as always, brought to you by Hannah Engineering. Appreciate you guys being a part of that. It's been a lot of fun to do. It gives you a reason to watch teams outside of just your team, outside of just your area, try to kind of keep up with the whole state there. Jerel, if you're ready, we'll bring you on here and we'll do our polls powered by First Team Sports.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll start at 1A this week, and we had no changes whatsoever. We had Abbeville getting all 3 first-place votes, Bamberg at 2, Carvers Bay at 3, Cross at 4, and Johnsonville at 5. So it stays pretty static there. Big A leading the way. Bamberg, we think, is right behind them, and it just seems like we've kind of solidified that 1A poll so far, guys.
Trending towards a really big Carvers Bay Johnsonville matchup here in a couple weeks. Carvers Bay, hammered Latta 2 weeks ago, hammered Lakeview last week. Johnsonville's already beaten that Lakeview team. That'll be a really fun game here in a few weeks. But everybody, those teams are just not playing competitive football games. They're beating everybody by a ton. Abbeville lost to Westside, who's a bigger school, have hammered everybody else. Bamberg's hammered everybody. Carvers Bay, Cross, like that. When they play these 1A teams, it's not been competitive so far this year.
For sure. Let's go to 2A. We got a little bit of movement here, though, this week. Got Central Pageland still getting all first-place votes. Strom Thurmond at 2. Clinton staying at 3. Hampton County slides up to 4. And a new entry into the 2A poll for the year is Timberland, sliding into that 5 spot, obviously, with Fairfield Central losing big to Chester this weekend.
I want to ask you guys a question that I was, struggling with when I was putting my poll together in 2A. Have y'all thought about moving Clinton up higher than this, higher than 3? Yeah. I think I've got him in 2 in my poll. I think. I was wondering, what do you guys think about the Red Devils?
I will. I know Clemson fans are not going to like this. Zach's not going to like this. I just put them back in the top 5 this week. And I think they are very good, but I haven't moved them up higher because I watched that Daniel game and like they played great, but they fell apart in the fourth quarter. They couldn't get a stop. That entire fourth quarter couldn't get a stop. Daniel came back in that game to win it. If they beat Daniel, that's massive. That's enormous, right? To beat a Daniel team, a really good team, a bigger school. But I just have a hard time rewarding a team too much for a loss.
Yeah, no, I obviously I have Clinton, so we know who's holding Clinton back in our poll. He just admitted to it, so I got Clinton pretty high. I mean, every year, they start off slow, but that's a product of who they play in non-region, and I don't think anybody's schedule's more difficult non-region than Clinton does every year. And I mean, essentially, I look at them as a 3A team. I know we'll see how it shakes out again this coming year. We have realignment, but this Clinton team, they're hitting their stride at the right time. They've got championship pedigree. I expect them to be in the mix for the state title, and it's reflected in our poll here. So I got them up there. I got Thurman up there high. I want to reward them for how well they've played. Obviously Central, how they've played, and I more so have question marks about Timberland. I don't know really how good they are. I think they're a good team. Their record reflects that they're doing well, but I don't know exactly how good they are this year when it comes to 2A.
Yeah, let's look now at 3A and 4A, Jerel.
Yeah, 3A. Surprise, surprise. Still got Oceanside at the top spot, getting all the votes. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Newberry at 2. Tied for third, remaining the same. We have BHP and Loris, and MVP at the 5 spot. We're going to see some movement, obviously, this week with MVP and Woodruff playing this week. But I think this is a solid top 5, and we think highly of all these teams.
I mean, if Marlboro County beats Dillon handily, they could jump in there for me as well, I will say, next week. It could be a lot of movement in 3A next week on the show.
Yeah, we talk about 3A every week. I think, obviously, Oceanside has separated from the pack, solidified, their number 1 spot. Or unless they tumble or down the stretch, I really don't see us moving them off. But there could be some movement two through like the 10 teams that are behind them. So a lot of fun there. 4A got South Point still in the number 1 spot. South Florence at 2, Gray Collegiate at 3, Daniel at 4, North Augusta at 5, with Hilton Head receiving some votes as well. This one stayed exactly the same from last week.
The one difference I noticed when I look at some of the other polls from us on 4A, it's AC Flora. The other polls have AC Flora really high. We don't even have them in our, I guess, technically top 5 or receiving votes there. John, I know we've both seen them play. I like that team. I just don't think they're top 3, top 5 good, and that's a big disconnect between us and some of these other polls right now, it feels like.
Yeah, I think they're great. I love the quarterback play. Yeah. They're a good team. They didn't let South Point get too far from them a couple weeks ago in that game. But, I look at these 6 teams that we've got in 4A. Well, they already lost South Point.
Yeah.
I don't think they would beat South Florence. I don't think they would beat Gray. I don't think they would beat Daniel. I'd probably pick North Augusta to beat them. And I think I would take Hilton Head to beat them. They're a good team. They're in the top 10 for me.
Yeah.
They're not in the top 5. They're not in the top 6.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bad. Just those teams are good. They're really good.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I can't say it much better. So let's go look at 5A. And in Division 2, we got Irmo leading the pack with 2 first-place votes. Northwestern in second with a first-place vote. TL Hanna at 3. New entry, first-time entry for the year. Indianland at the 4 spot. And Greenwood at 5, with Berkeley getting kicked out for the first time this year in the receiving votes category. What you guys think about this one?
What's so crazy to me about D2, and I think I may have did it this week, and I didn't feel good about it because, I know, how this stuff works, but I feel like Greenwood is a better team than TL Hanna, but TL Hanna beat them on the field. So it's like, what do you do with it? It's a hard one to figure out how to really rank them. Honestly, I don't know if I like TL Hanna at 3, but I just don't know how to move them down based on what their body of work is and what we've actually seen on the field from these teams.
They've gotten some good wins. And I reward the wins. So I had them 3 in my poll as well, but I don't know. It's just 5A. It's so tough because it's split into two, and there's not a ton of schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's tough for me too. But I value, obviously, I think head to head is the ultimate tiebreaker, and there's no way if they have the identical record that I'm ever going to put, as much as I like this Greenwood bunch ahead of T.L. It's just not going to happen the way that I rank teams. And I really like this Berkeley team. Go ahead.
What if Greenville beats T.L. in a couple weeks? We got three-way round robin. Then what do we rank them?
Yeah. I don't see that happening, honestly. So
I see Indiana moving up is what I see.
I like it. Berkeley's back in there too.
And that's the thing about this Berkeley team too. It's like they had a heartbreaker against Stratford. If they beat Stratford, I mean, I might have them at number 2 in my poll. I might kick down Northwestern. So that's how much I value this Berkeley team, and that just shows how volatile and how close these teams are. But I'm glad that we're giving Indiana Land some love here. But going to Division I. And this one was close. Dutch Fork was they were on life support there until late in that game against Whitenall. They had a knockdown drag out, but they remained at the top spot, getting 2 first-place votes. Somerville getting a first-place vote. James Island stays at 3 after falling to Somerville. I thought that was surprising. Stratford at 4 and Ridgeview at 5. What do you guys take about James Island not losing any ground in this particular game?
I mean, the 3 and the 4 team have 1 loss. They're both to Somerville. Like we just haven't, and they've both been like competitive, less than 1-score games. Like I think that shows how highly we value what Somerville is and what these guys bring to the table. And part of it for me too, Jerel and John. I don't know about you guys, but like once we get past that 5 spot, I don't feel great about a lot of teams in Division I. I'm searching. I was like, I mean, I don't know where to go after those 5.
And on the positive side of this, I would love to see any of these 5 schools play each other. And, as good as Dutch Fork is, as good as Somerville is, I think if James Island, Stratford, Ridgeview, I mean, I guarantee you, Somerville don't want to play James Island or Stratford again. Something goes a little bit different. They could have lost both of those games. That's how good that James Island and Stratford are. Dutch Fork, Ridgeview. I can tell you what, Dutch Fork, they don't want to play Ridgeview again.
No.
It's just a really, really competitive 5, and it's cool to see all 5 teams. It's good to see Stratford back up high again. It's good to see James Island, at least for us, maintaining in that respect that they have, and Dutch Fork, I think, being a tick not as dominant. I'm not going to say good because they're still good.
Yeah.
Maybe not as dominant. Kind of it squeezes the gap a little bit here in Division I. I love it. I think it's great.
I'll say, guys, my real, when looking at this poll this week, was I was really thinking about putting Somerville at 1.
I did too. I thought very hard about it. I did.
Yeah. I thought about putting it. I think we're telling on ourselves who we voted for. I'm giving Dutch Fork the benefit of the doubt. Because I really do think that Oceanside team is that good. And slip-ups happen. That game was lost on the road. But I was really considering putting it Somerville at 1, especially the way they won that game. Like, that was the game we talked about that James Island wanted. A sloppy game, rainy game, defensive battle, and Somerville still found a way to win that game. And that just showed me that this program is built for success. And I wouldn't be surprised next week. I might just switch it. I think Somerville is right there with Dutch Fork, especially with how Dutch Fork, played last week. So they seem pretty vulnerable as well.
I mean, that would be a good win over Ashley Ridge too, Somerville this week too, if they win that football game. So I can certainly see that. But I mean, if you look at that 5 spot, the 6 spot, even on Division I, I mean, your other options are, Dorman, who just lost to Spartanburg. Spartanburg, who's got 3 losses. I don't think you want to put them there. Sumter and Carolina Forest are probably your best 2 options if you want to slide somebody in there. A Sumter team that I feel like is not as good as some Sumter teams we've seen in the past couple of years. And then Carolina Forest, that I like them a lot. It feels like something crazy always happens in the playoffs for them. Maybe they get a little bit exposed. I don't know. I think they've got 1 loss just to Irmo right now. So they're a good program as well. But I still think these 5 are the top. Justin, just in Division I, I mean, your only options right now, I don't know. Like, I don't think Burns is there the way they play lately. Obviously, Spartanburg, they had the big win, but they've got some bad losses. Not bad losses, but they have some losses more than you want to have at this point in the year. And then Dorman just took one last week. So I don't really know who you would put in there from the upstate if you want to go look at the, Division One.
And there's, kind of how I said a couple classifications ago, I don't think there's anybody in the upstate that I would pick to beat any of these teams.
Yeah.
Especially Ridgeview. We keep sliding Ridgeview. Ridgeview is really good. They are really, really good. So I think they're kind of getting forgotten about a little bit. That is a fantastic football team.
Bradley says, this is the first year Indiana's been really good. To this level, I would say yes. They've had some good teams. They had a solid year. I think 2 years ago they were pretty solid. They've obviously made
they were
the
in 4A. We saw them.
You're right. It's their first big 5A run for sure. Wants to see Somerville Dutch Fork play for state title. Yeah, certainly could see a rematch from last year, brother. Would not be surprising to me. We've got Indiana 6-6 last year, 6-5 2 years ago. If we could just go back in 3 years ago, 7-5. So kind of around that same mark, it seems like the past few seasons there for Coach Hastings' Warriors bunch. But once again, our polls powered by First Team Sports. Appreciate them as always, supporting the boys, helping us get these polls out each and every week. Want to shout out our teams of the week. Chester, the Cyclones, big win over Fairfield Central. Spartanburg, the walk-off field goal over Dorman. And Somerville wins that big matchup, heavyweight fight against James Island. For our teams of the week from Preferred Home Services, our players of the week, we had Jalen Singletary at Hampton County, Reddick Langston at Malden, and then Xavier Means at Northwestern, all insured by the Georgia Agency. Shout out to Preferred Home Services and the Georgia Agency for helping us out and bringing us those teams of the week and players of the week. As always, guys, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS at Movin Chains on all social media platforms. MovinChains.com is our website. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do our weekly preview show here on Tuesday nights at 7:15 on Facebook and YouTube. We go live talking about the whole slate across the state of South Carolina. We have coach interviews, player reviews, great stuff outside of that as well. We had Carver's Bay head coach Matthew Richard last week. We had North Augusta running back Mike Doe last night. Come out, go check those out. Follow along for our other interviews, our food reviews, our stock up, players of the week, all that kinds of great stuff. Check us out for all of that. As always, get your Movin the Chains merch. Some great hats right now. Richardson hats, gray front, black and gray back. Also a black front one up there as well. You're Movin the Chains toboggans right now for the colder weather, a gray or a black one. You're Movin the Chains stickers. Looks great on your car, your laptop, your tumbler, whatever you want to do. Get you that. Get you one of these hoodies. I wore my hoodie a couple weeks back. It's a little bit colder weather, getting to that time of year. Get your gray hoodie, get your white hoodie right now. Support the boys, rep the brand, help us grow this thing. And again, your Movin the Chains t-shirts. We've got a black one, a navy blue, a gray, and a pink as well. Great Christmas gifts, John. I know you love giving your family these for Christmas. You're a big Movin the Chains merch supporter, and you love giving it to the fam, right?
Absolutely. Everybody gets one.
That's right. Well, John, Jerel, any final thoughts from you guys as we wrap up here on week 8?
Oh, for me, man, again, the same message every week. You're hearing our voices on Tuesday. Get out to a game on Friday, so make sure you support your local community, your local team, and if you have a bye week, go support somebody else. Everybody works hard every week. Go run up that YouTube. We're approaching that 1,000 as I keep talking about, but go follow us on all socials. Like Kevin mentions every week, some people might not know about our program and what we do promoting high school football. So tell a friend, tell a family member to subscribe. They don't have to watch our show, but at least hit that like, follow, or subscribe button. And just excited about this week's slate and looking forward to the results on Friday night.
Should be great football weather. It's a little crisp in the air. Great. This is the time of year where you can break out the jeans, break out the pullovers. It's perfect football weather. Perfect time. Perfect week to go out there.
Last question from Alex. Who's going to win Barnwell, Hampton County? I think we're all leaning Hampton County. Barnwell just a little bit down right now. It's a couple injuries as well. I think the Hurricanes are hot and playing good football. I think they win that game. But, yeah, again, guys, if you just tuned in now, you missed part of the show. It's going to be there forever on Facebook and YouTube. You can go back and check it out after the show's over. Our Kona games of the week, and then 5A all the way through 1A, our polls, our pick'em, SCISA, all that stuff. Go check that out as always. But it's been another great show, John. Looking forward to a great night of football on Friday, man. Should be fantastic weather across the state. No rain this week, I don't see, so hopefully that holds true for us. But Moving the Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. For Jerel, Hendricks, and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 8 preview show talking all things South Carolina high school football here on Moving the Chains. We'll catch you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.